Okay. So in today's session, we'll see from the basics like how we are working with your computer, what is the hardware and software components, what is server, what is a virtual machine, what is data center. So these are the very basic things which you'll be covering up. And we'll also work on the different services, different types of clouds. Okay. So all these things will be covered. Now, coming to your computer, almost everyone are using computers, right? So it's a digital electronic device. If you say your computer is an digital electronic device and it has both hardware and software. So let me go here. Okay. So if you see your components inside a computer, it has both hardware and software applications, you can see. So outside a computer, these are the computer parts. So we have monitor, processor, printer, speaker, keyboard, mouse. So this is what you can see in your computer, physical components. So we have both input device and output device. So can anyone tell which are the input devices here? Am I audible? In your computer, can anyone name the input devices? Keyboard is an input device. Mouse is
Yeah,
a,
keyboard, mouse, a
yes,
scanner, microphone.
yes. Keyboard, mouse, microphone, all these are input devices. So what are the output devices?
Monitor,
Monitor, correct?
monitor, speaker,
Yes.
CPU too, actually.
Uh,
I mean, if
CPU
it's CPU
will,
like a
no, it will come, so printer will come under output device. CPU, you can say it will come under your processing. So we have input process and output. Okay. So this is what you're seeing in your physical computer. Now, if you see, okay. So now if you just observe here, you can see if you open your computer, that is your CPU, central processing unit, if you open and see, these are the components. Anyone has opened a computer and seen?
Yeah,
yes, we
like
did.
during school and college time, yes, we have seen.
Yes, yeah, good. So you must have had a fair idea, right? How your computer works. So
Yeah.
like for example, there is a power supply which provides power supply to your computer for all the components within. Okay. And then you have the hard disk where the storage storing the data in it. Then you have RAM. Then you have your central processing unit, that is your processor. Then the motherboard, which is the uh, electronic circuit board where all the components are placed on it. So these are the different components which forms inside a computer. Now, so if I have to work on this computer, we not only have a hardware, but we also have the software. So software is nothing but the operating system which is used and the other applications. So we'll just see. So some of the terminologies which you should be aware of in case of my software. So like for example, if I'm talking about your application, so application is nothing but a computer program. And program is what? A set of instructions. For example, I'm typing 1 plus 1 on my computer. It's a mathematical calculation. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. I'm getting a result. Getting? So this is, you're giving an instruction which the computer will take the instruction, it will process, and it will give you the output on the monitor, that which is a output device. So you should understand that What is an application? It's a set of instructions. Okay. And your entire computer program is written in a language, programming language. So here you can see you will be many of you must be already familiar with the programming languages, right? So like for example, you can see a different programming languages like Python, C, C sharp, C++, CSS, HTML, Java, Perl, PHP. So these are all different types of programming language, you can say. And which will help your computer if you have to write a set of program. We are using this programming language. So in basically, we have two things when you're talking about your computer. You have the hardware part, and then you have the software, that is the application part. Okay. So this is about your physical and hardware and software. So coming to your not only your computer applications, we have one more thing that is called as your operating system. Okay, so operating system, for example, we have your Windows, we have Linux, Mac. So different operating systems are there. So which will, once you load into it, which will help you to run your computer. So this is a very basic thing which you'll have to be aware in your computer. So in today's session, what we are mainly seeing is about your server. So server is a main computer. Okay. So if you see this network, for example, if I'm going to consider my server, okay. So server is a computer mainly which will provide services to your other computer. Okay. So in any network, so it's a server client architecture is there. So if I'm going to see the two architectures, that is server and client architecture. So client is one which is receiving the services, whereas server will provide the services. Okay, so you can just see it's a highly configured machine. So this is how it doesn't look like an actual computer, right? What we saw was a physical computer which we are using locally. But in organizations, when they are using huge amount of data, it's a highly configured machine where this is how it will look like. It has the hard disk, processor, motherboard, network, and all the applications. Okay. So now, when we just saw your computer, we saw what is a server, what is a client. Okay. And what exactly we are seeing, like for example, we are working on your cloud. Why we have to know all these things? Because these are the basic, like how exactly a cloud works, we have to be aware. What is a server and where the servers are kept. Okay. Now, there is a place called data center. So data center is a place where a huge amount of servers reside. So I can have around hundreds of computers. One second. One second. Is my screen visible?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's visible but not sharing interface.
Yeah, one second. I'll share. Okay, I think now it's visible.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you can just see here, we have number of servers kept in this particular, it's a physical location. So number of, like I can say, I can have more than 100 servers. I can have 100 servers kept in one location. Okay. So more than based on the need. So these missions, which will be used. And here what example happens is it's a physical location and there's a physical infrastructure is there. So computer servers are kept. It has to be maintained. It has to be managed. Okay. Networking and infrastructure has to be taken care. Security is needed. Okay. So all these things are there in a data center. Okay. So here, this is how exactly your data center looks like. Now, why we have to know about this data center is nothing but your AWS, that is your Amazon Web Service provider, which is a cloud service provider. It has got its own data centers. So these data centers is owned by cloud. It has its own data centers, like this number of data centers across the world, AWS. Okay. So we'll just see how this came into place, how we are going to work on this. All these things we'll be covering. So before going on to how it actually works, you have to have a basic idea about a virtual machine. So anyone has got an idea about virtual machine? Anyone? Any idea?
Yes.
It is a software computer.
Yes, it is a software-based computer, correct? So we have a picture of how exactly your virtual machine. Okay, so here if you just see, this is my physical machine. I showed you a physical physical computer has its own storage, memory, network, processor. Okay, so it is having its own. Whereas in case of my virtual machine, what happens is I'm using a hypervisor. Okay, I'm installing an hypervisor, and on top of it, I'm installing different complete isolated logical computers. Okay, so I'll just tell you how it works. So if I'm seeing, for example, if I'm going to consider my virtual machine, so this is my one single computer. Now, what happens is, let me say in a company, it is having, for the server, it is having 100 GB of data. So here, one particular team, one team, if it is using this particular server machine, what happens is only one person can use. So it is not fully utilized. So instead of that, if I'm using multiple people are using the same machine, okay, so what happens is its efficiency increases. So here what they have come with a concept is on this physical server, on this particular server, what they have done is they have installed something called as a hypervisor. Okay, so on which I can be installing virtual machines. Okay, I can install multiple virtual machines. So in my actual physical server, if I'm saying 100 GB, this is having its own hard disk. It's having its own memory, RAM. It is having all CPU, everything is there. But on that, let me say I'm having a Windows operating system. Okay, one user, local machine. On that, if I'm installing your hypervisor, it can be this particular software, it can be like your VMware. Example of hypervisor is like your VMware, Zen, Oracle. So you can install that, and on that, you can install something called as your virtual machine. Okay, it's a software-based computer. It's having its own hard disk space, memory. I can have my own processor, utilize processor utilization, memory, hard disk. Everything will be separate, isolated. So like that, I can create multiple VMs, virtual machines on it. Okay. Now, if someone wants to use, so other people they can make use of your virtual machine also. I can, for example, I can install in one virtual machine Linux. I can install in another. I can install Mac operating system. I can install another Windows operating system. Like that, I can install different operating system on a single server. So what happens is this becomes it is I'm efficiently using my computer, and it is more cost effective and um, more convenient. Okay, so this is one of the major uses of my virtual machine. So here in this picture, if you just see, so you can see how exactly my virtual machine looks like. So here on top of my operating system, I've installed your hypervisor I have created, and then I have installed different virtual machines, which is having its own operating system, own hard disk, storage, memory. All this it is virtually isolated. So I can have number of virtual machines in one single single server. Okay, so based on this concept, they are using your cloud. Okay, so based on this concept, they are using your cloud computing. So what happens in your data center? If you see, I might have number of servers. I might have in my data center, I might have hundreds of servers. 100 servers. Okay, let me give an example of 100 servers. And then each server, I might have different. It's a huge high configuration. Let me say it is having something like a huge amount of data. So this is like 100 GB or 50 GB, like that. Different configuration I'm keeping. So here on each um, server, this software will be installed, hypervisor will be installed, and I'm using the virtual machine which is working installed on this particular server. So if I'm using a data center, what happens is we had mainly two different types of data centers, like a traditional one and another one is a cloud data center. So traditional, what was happening? The traditional, it was owned by the company or a organization, its own user. So that virtual machines were used by the only that particular company. It was limited. Whereas in cloud, the data centers were owned by the cloud service providers. So what are the cloud service providers? We have like AWS, Azure. The data centers were owned by this cloud service providers, GCP. So like that, different service providers they were using. Okay, so let me go back here. In case of my data center, so what is happening? We have mainly two types. One is the on-premise model, which is owned by the data center at its own location. Okay. Whereas in cloud model, the service provider is owning the data center. So what is the difference here is nothing but in case of my traditional, that is the one which is bought by the company, what happens? Investment is there. Okay, so they have to purchase these servers. The physical servers you need to purchase, and you have to make sure that how much you will have an idea, like in your company might needed 200 servers or 300 servers. So you're purchasing so many number of servers. Okay, and it takes a lot of time and effort to set up this infrastructure, to set up the entire data center. It will take some time, and not only that, managing it, setting it up, okay, checking for security, everything takes a lot. It is quite expensive, and even troubleshooting is also expensive. So here, if I'm saying 200 servers I'm using, but suddenly I say company is only utilizing 150 servers. So what happens to the remaining 50? It remains idle. So this is a disadvantage in case of my on-premise or a traditional model, where once they have done the investment, so it's already been invested. So you can't shrink in. So what is happening here? It's a limited facility. Or maybe your company is expanding, you need 300 servers, but here it is already limited for 200. So if you have to purchase the entire infrastructure, again you need to change. So what is happening in case of my traditional data centers? What is happening here? So it is quite expensive. You have to purchase these physical servers. You have to make sure that it has to be managed. And for setting up the data center, it will take a lot of time. And troubleshooting and managing is also quite difficult in case of my traditional model. Okay. And scaling up and scaling down. That is, you can't shrink in, you can't expand. It is limited in terms of that. So this was about your traditional model. Now, what happened in a cloud model? In cloud model, what happens? It is owned. Who's the owner in case of this particular data center? The service provider is the owner. Okay. And service provider, when I said, like your AWS, like Microsoft Azure, GCP, IBM, like this, it's having its own data center. And every cloud service provider has its own services. Okay. So it is having data center across the world. Globally, you can say. Globally, it is kept. All the data center, it is owning it. And if a company or organization want to set up the infrastructure, what they're doing, they are renting the servers. They're not purchasing the servers, they are renting the servers. So renting means you're paying only for those services which you are using. Okay. So for example, if I'm in one day, I might use 50 servers. So I'm paying only for 50 servers. For if my company expands, okay, that time I can purchase another 50 and I can make it to 100. So I can keep expanding, or if I don't need, I need not, if I'm not using it, I can delete those servers. So I can scale in and scale out. So this option is available in your cloud. Okay, so that is the main advantage of my cloud model. And you're paying only for those services which you're using. Okay, and not only that, it is highly available, and you also have a support team that will be taking care of all these servers, managing the data center, infrastructure, everything will be taken care by AWS. And not only that, it is highly available. So if one of my server fails, immediately it will be backed up. Okay. So the downtime is very, very less in case of your cloud service provider. So this is the major difference between your traditional on-premise model and your cloud model. Clear?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So we saw what is a computer, what are the different components. Then we saw what is a server. Then what is a data center and who owns a data center? What are the different types of model? And one more is we saw the virtual machine, how exactly my virtual machine works. So this particular data center, what is happening? It is owned by the cloud service providers. Okay, so this concept is being used in case of my cloud, in your cloud service providers. So, like huge numbers of servers virtually I am using. Okay, so if I have to purchase, if I have to work on any server, I'm actually working on a virtual machine on my service provider. So here service providers, we have different types of services it provides. So in case of my cloud computing, what are the services it provides? It provides like servers, database, storage, networking, all the services with pay-as-you-go pricing. So how much you're using, so much you're paying. Okay. So in the last technical session, I just gave you a brief of how we'll be covering with your storage. Okay. So like that, different services will be seen. So coming to your cloud computing, if you see cloud computing, what exactly happens is we are utilizing all the services in my cloud service provider. We can access this from anywhere. We can access via your phone, laptop, or a tablet, from anywhere. The entire structure, it is used or utilized. Okay, like your compute is your servers. Then we have storage, we have database, different applications. Okay, so all this we are utilizing. So in your day-to-day life, if you see, what are the different, nowadays, everything has gone online, right? So for example, if I'm saying like for your education, so you have your online classes. So this is also, we are doing it online. So we even have e-education, different portals for that. Then we are communicating with others. Can anyone tell me what are the communication channels we are using every day? No one is using technology.
WhatsApp,
Yeah, WhatsApp,
Facebook, Twitter, and
social,
Insta.
yeah, Facebook, then what else? So number of, yes,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, that is, that's not a, okay, that's a networking site.
Email, we can use this Gmail,
So here,
Gmail, Zoom.
yeah, in terms of your mail communication, we have different types of service providers like your Gmail, your different types of mails, that is we are using emails. Then social networking. What are the things we are sharing? We are trying to communicate. Okay, nowadays, not only WhatsApp, we have other many other communications which have come into picture. Okay, then Facebook is one large community where you're communicating, you're sharing your information, and Instagram is also in the similar way. So in all this, what we are looking? We are looking for something called as security. Your data, your whatever you're sharing, the data, it has to be secured. Correct? So in your day-to-day life, you're communicating, right? Your education, not only that. See, shopping also nowadays, most of them have gone for online. So we have your Amazon, then you have Flipkart. So different websites we have where you purchase online. So what are the things you are using to purchase? So it can be your electronics, clothing, furniture. Then what else? Grocery, right? So we also have something called as Big Basket, Blinkit, Zepto. So what happens? So all these are your online platform where you're using technology to utilize for our day-to-day activities. Not only that, we can even track our finances. So in terms of security, we are also using technology. So this is like in day-to-day, every uh, part of our life, nowadays, we are more dependent on your online services. Other than these, any other thing you can remember? Other than shopping and communication, any other things you can remember as technology in your life? Don't remember? Are you all using OTT platforms like Netflix, Prime?
Yeah.
Correct. So nowadays, what is happening? They're directly launching the movies or programs in this particular platforms. So you should know that Netflix is it's a big partner of AWS. And not only that, even Big Basket is managed by AWS. Okay. So please have, these are some of the major companies which is partnered with AWS. So when I'm talking about technology in your day-to-day life, we are so much used to all these things. Not only that, even for booking a ticket, for example, if I want to book a ticket, right? So it can be your traveling ticket, like your flight ticket, train ticket, bus ticket, correct? Now everything has gone online. Instead of going there and purchasing or buying, we are using day-to-day activities. Okay, we are trying to do it online. You can pay your bills online. You can book a movie ticket online. You're purchasing things. You're doing banking transactions online. Correct? Now you can see everywhere they're using online, GPay, Paytm, different types of banking transaction we are seeing. Correct? So what has happened is technology has become part and parcel of our daily life. So here, whenever these services, these applications, like for example, if I'm using a Big Basket or Flipkart or a WhatsApp, everything is in your mobile. And how these services or how these applications are run, okay, the background. So all this, we are making the use of your cloud computing. So for running all these servers, for example, let me give an example of your Gmail. Gmail is a what? Mail server, correct? So here, this particular server, if you want to have an account, what you're doing for your Gmail, you want to access some mails, you're creating an account, correct? So I'm creating an account in Gmail. So with a mail ID, I have some GB of space where I can send a mail, receive the mails. I have my account ID, address, and some uh, the entire Google, some storage is available. So all things are possible with this particular thing. So here you can see that in today's world, technology has become part and parcel of a day-to-day life. So um, this is something about why we are come into cloud computing. Okay, so how exactly the organization moved to the cloud when everything has gone online. And not only that, it also has a major benefit. So that's the main reason how it has been moved. So coming to your this particular cloud computing, if you see, there are mainly three different services my cloud computing provides. Okay, so I can give you an example of a hotel room, or how it exactly it works. Okay, so we are telling they are providing what? Servers, that is your compute as a service, correct? Then storage as a service, then database as a service. Okay, compute, storage, database, networking. So how am I using these services? When I say compute, the entire infrastructure. Okay, so this how they are providing you the services. Under these services, it is divided as three different parts: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and storage as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, it's like in this picture, you can see it's an example of you're renting a place. Okay, you have bought a place, you're renting a place, but you're you have your own um, you have your own furnitures you bring here, in case from the beginning you're using. Whereas in case of a platform as a service, what is happening? Already part they have already furnished. So I'm just making use of the services, whatever I'm trying to do. Whereas in case of a software as a service example, it's a fully furnished hotel. If you go for a hotel room, what is happening? Already it is furnished with all the furnitures, bed, light, everything is there. Security is also there. So you're not paying separately for the security. It is inbuilt. So it goes like for how many days you're staying in that particular place, maybe for 1 day or 2 days. So only for the number of days you're paying. Okay, it's like a ready-made. So if I'm seeing here, if I'm going to compare it to the how exactly my services looks like, this is how it looks like. So this is my on-premises. So the entire infrastructure of your server, storage, application, networking, everything is taken care by whom? It is taken care by the person who's owning it. Okay, this is for the on-premises cloud. Whereas in infrastructure as a service, what is happening? You're providing these services. So you're getting all these services. Whereas platform as a services, partially they're providing you, they're taking care of the operating system, patching. So all these things is taken care by the platform as a service. Okay, whereas in case of my software as a service, what is happening? It's like everything they're taking care, the hardware part. If you have a server, the managing, the operating system, the patching, everything is taken care. Only the end product, whatever the application you're running, that will be given in case of my software as a services. So in your cloud computing, if you see, what is a cloud computing? You're providing the services like compute, database, storage with pay as you go pricing, and you can go global. Okay, from anywhere you can access these services. So if I have a particular place, from there I can access. Okay, so next we'll be coming on to your we'll be starting off with your main topic, that is your AWS. So as I mentioned, it is one of the main cloud service provider. And when compared to other service provider, it is having a higher demand because of its features. And some of the main websites like your Amazon.com, Netflix is taken care by your AWS. So this is what you'll be learning, different types of services which you'll be learning, like EC2, uh, Beanstalk, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, IAM, S3, storage, RDS, CloudWatch. All these services you'll be learning in this. Okay. So if you see the history of your AWS, so when it was being launched, you can see the history. So it was launched in 2002, and every year it kept adding new services. If you see in 2004, SQS was launched, 6 virtual instance called as EC2 was launched. Then if you see in 2016, it reached 10 billion in revenue, and 2017 more than 100 services. In today's, we have more number of services when you compare to your, here we are till 2018 it is mentioned, but now 2025 it is having number of services, more than 200, 300 plus services are available. Okay. So the major use of your cloud, why we are using cloud? For mainly for your, I'm getting the infrastructure, the entire infrastructure as a service. So if I have to start an organization, I need not have to invest anything. I'm just I'm just renting all the services. I can scale in, scale out. That is, I can increase. So for the entire infrastructure has been provided, then high availability is there, storage is there, backup is there. So these are the benefits of my cloud. And not only that, we have some services like website hosting. So it also uses with mobile. For example, you can see some of the services like your Netflix is a partner of AWS. Then we have your Activision. So all these are some of the use cases. Okay. So let me go to the console. So before I go here, let me go to the console. I'll sign out and then I'll log in. So this is the actual console, how your AWS looks like. So you can have a look at the console. If you see here, if you click on the products, you can see different services which you can have a look at it. Okay. Then we have the solutions. Okay. What type of industry it is taking care. So advertising and marketing, education, financial, government-based, healthcare, manufacturing. So you can see what are the solutions, which are the organizations. Travel and hospitality. Okay. So like this, different services it is providing. And pricing, you can see it is having this pricing calculator for what are the services which is providing. And for your practice, you can use a free tier account. So in one more session, I showed you how to create a free tier account and what are the offers, what are the plans which you get, which is already been discussed in that particular topic. So you'll have to create an account. You'll have to signing into the console. You have to choose a free tier account and create a AWS account, just like how in your Gmail you are creating an account. You have to go here and create an account. Once you have created an account, see, go here and create a free account. Once you're created, you can start using those services. Okay. So I want everyone to create an account here. So I think only one of you have the account, right? Am I audible?
Yes.
What about the rest? So please create an account. Okay. And
Okay.
any doubts, do let me know in the next session when you're coming. So there is a link which has been shared. They'll share it again. So please go there and create a free tier account. Okay, you'll have to give your email ID and password. You'll have to have a credit or a debit card for creating an account. And only 2 rupees will be deducted in Indian rupees or a dollar, $1. If that is for verification. And once it is done, this account, once it is verified within 24 hours, you'll be able to have access. So on this account only, you will be working on the services. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. Um, okay, so let me log into my account. So I log into my account. So you can just see here. This is how once you have created an account, you will have to log into your root user. Whatever the mail ID you're using, you have to log in, sign in using your root user mail. And the email ID I have, this is my email ID. I will log in. So the password which you have provided and sign in. Okay. So this is my console which we'll be working. So if you see here in this particular console, you can see the recently visited services. And if you click here, this 4 dots, if you can observe, you can see all the services which are available. Okay. These are the services which are available. And this side, you can see the account ID which has been created. Okay. And not only that, if you log in, you can see it is region specific. You can see where and all it is there. So we just saw about um how exactly it is working, the use case, and what is the history, all these things we saw in your cloud. Next, I just want to show you with the global infrastructure of my service provider. So here you should understand we'll be learning mainly about your regions. So what is a region? What is a zone? AWS data centers and this. So if you see here, so region is nothing but it is a cluster of all your data centers. So cluster of availability zones. So if you just observe here, so in a particular region, okay, I might have a group of zones. So region is what? It is a cluster of data centers. So I'll just show you in my console. This is my console. I'll just sign out. I'll show you the global infrastructure. Okay, so this is how my AWS global infrastructure looks like. You can just see here. So it is slightly changed. The which I had in my PPT, you can see it's an older one. Recently, it has been changed, this console. So it slightly differs. So if you see here, when I say the global infrastructure, it is having data centers across the world. You can see all the locations. Okay, so this is which location? This is in North America. So we have different locations, and you can see how many regions are there? Almost like 38 regions, 120 zones, 700 plus point of presence. POP stands for point of presence. And this is 43 is the local zone. This is the global infrastructure if you see in case of my AWS. So you can see here different continents. They have given all the regions in every locations. See in South America, you can see 2 locations. And let me go for Asia Pacific. You can see in Asia Pacific, what are the locations which are available? You can see here, this is in Hyderabad. If I click here, what is it telling me? How many zones are there? Which year it was launched? If I click on Mumbai location, you can see it was launched in 2016 and 3 zones are there. So what is the zone? What is the region? Okay. So if you see here in like for example, if I'm going to consider a region, in a region we have different availability zones are there in one single region. Okay. So if I say, for example, if I'm saying one particular region, so I'm having different data centers. Okay. A cluster of data centers are available. So this is one availability zone. Okay. This is one availability zone, another availability zone. So this entire group is one region. So here you can see how many different regions are there in your AWS data. So I might have more than 38 regions are there in your AWS data. And in every availability zone, these are the data centers. This is the data center. So I have a cluster or a group of data centers which are available in that particular region. Okay. In case of my global infrastructure, if you see, so this is my global infrastructure. For every location, we have 3 zones. In every region, there are 3 availability zones. Okay. So you can just have a look at it. I'll just share you this particular link. You can just have a look at it. Okay. Uh, you can go through. So what are the different regions which are available, and how many regions are there right now? It is 38 regions which has been launched, and total zones are 120. And this is the point of presence, and 43 local zones which are available. Now, where I said 38 regions are there. Now, if I log into my console, mine is a free tier account. You can see that in a free tier account, only certain regions are I'm able to sign in. Others are grayed out. It stays some time. So let me log in here. So I go to my root account and I'm just signing in. Okay, so you can see this is my console. Right now, I have logged into which region? Can you all see the region? It is North Virginia. And you can see what are the regions I can use. So there are 17 regions are not enabled for this account. So this is a what type of an account? I'm using a free tier account or a basic account. Okay, so for that account, if I want to have a look, you can see this is my ID. If I go for the account details, you'll be getting the account details. So once you create an account, uh, first one, it will give you the billing details. Whose ID is it? How you are doing? Okay. So all your details it will be given. So which are the regions which are active and which are the regions which are disabled? You can just see. And for one account, that is a main root account, the bills will be provided. Okay. So all these things will be coming to one place. So for that, you can see here, under your bills, you can see the bill status. So what the payment information, whether you're paid or not. So all these details you can observe under your bill and payments. So payment, it will show you if you have any due, which is there, payment due, nothing is there. You can just see here. So this is about your console and the infrastructure. You can just see here. So this was in the previous console. This is how it looked like, your global infrastructure. So this is a region. It's a cluster of data centers. And for every region, there will be a different availability zones. So minimum 3 to maximum 6. And how we are choosing a particular region based on the, according to that governance. So every data, so data will be different in different locations, how it will be using. So based on the region, the pricing will vary, and the legal requirements also varies for every region. So accordingly, you'll need to follow the particular countries or particular locations permissions, governance, how the data is being treated. And for everything, there'll be a legal requirements will be there. So accordingly, you'll have to choose. And which is the nearest location? For example, if you are living in India, for us, the nearest location will be Mumbai or Hyderabad. If you are living in US, in that particular location, that will be the nearest location. Or if you're living in any other location, Africa, that particular place, that will be the nearest place of access. So according to the proximity, so from where you're creating, so accordingly, they'll be choosing the region. A region will be chosen. Now, if you see here, you can see the zone. In a zone, minimum, you can have 3 availability zones. In each availability zone, there'll be number of data centers. So all these data centers are owned by your cloud service provider. So here, AWS is the cloud service provider. They are owning this. So what is the conclusion is nothing but they are separate, they are isolated from each other. So even if one fails, still I'll be able to have access. So there is a lot of backup and storage is available in case of my cloud computing concept. Okay. So in today's session, what are the different things we have seen is about what is a computer, what is a server. Okay. So what are the different things which we observed is what is a computer, what is a server, what is a virtual machine and data center. So computer is a physical electronic digital device. Server is a virtual machine, is a software-based computer in which on top of the operating system, we have your hypervisor. Hypervisor has been installed on top of your virtual machine. And data center is a location where huge number of servers are kept. Okay. And there are two ways companies are using this particular cloud. That is traditional we have, and we have your cloud on premises or traditional. Another one is your cloud. So in on-premises or traditional, what is happening? We have the data center, like the organization or the companies, they are owning the data centers. Whereas in case of my cloud, they are owning the cloud service provider is owning the data center. So they are the AWS or cloud service provider, they'll be renting the services like your infrastructure, servers, storage, database, all these services they'll be providing. Whereas and we are paying only for the services which you are using. So you are going like, I'm using number of services for only for so much you're paying the services. So you're going for pay as you go method. So this is the concepts which we have learned in today's session. And not only that, we also saw about the console and the global infrastructure. I have shared you the link of the global infrastructure and how the region in some major terminologies like region, data center, okay, availability zone, all these things are provided. So what is a region? Region is a cluster of data centers, and in each region we might have number of availability zones. So minimum 3 to maximum 6 different regions across the world in your AWS provider. Okay, sir. Any doubts? Any questions? Can you all text me if I'm audible? Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen. So we'll be ending the session for today. Any questions? You can let me know. So in
So we
the
have a
next,
class.
yes,
We have a class tomorrow as well, right?
yes, tomorrow also we have the session. So you should have an AWS account. You should have with you. If you have any issues with creating an account, please do let me know.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So you can leave. We'll be ending the session today. You can leave. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you just stop with